Pitch is strike one to Curtis Granderson.
Tough luck loser last time against Kansas City. Worked 7 innings, allowed just the 2 runs, but up against Zach Greinke, Astros lost 2-1. Russ suffering his 3rd loss of the year.
Granderson is 0 for 6. Rips that one foul. Fielded by Lance Berkman on the carom shot. No balls, 2 strikes for Russ Ortiz, who certainly did his job in that game against Greinke. Gave up an early home run. That proved to be the difference in the 2-1 loss. It's upstairs to Granderson. Granderson has a .338 on base average. He walked 37 times. Brings some power with the 17 homers to the leadoff spot. Tigers were throttled on just 3 hits last night by Felipe Paulino in the bullpen, losing 8-1. Line to center field, and Granderson has led off with a single.
Granderson with that on base percentage not particularly high, not the ideal leadoff man, but they really don't have one. And in the American League, it's not a bad idea to have a run producer at the top of your order either. Here's the Astros defensively, brought to you by me, Carlos Lee, Michael Bourne, Hunter Pence in the outfield. Jeff Keppinger gets his 2nd start at short. Miggy gets a day off. Pudge Rodriguez back in there behind the dish for Russ Ortiz. And Jeff Blum returns to the lineup.
Ortiz facing Placido Polanco, who ripped a 3-run homer in the opener of this series Friday night. That's his only hit in 9 at-bats in this series. Target outside by Pudge, and the pitch is strike one. James Hoy is the home plate umpire. Polanco, a .259 hitter, has 4 homers. He's driven in 30. Polanco's hitting .303 in his last 19 games.
Now, we've seen some big arms in this series. Guys that have thrown the fastball in the mid to upper 90s. Russ, a little bit different game. He'll work mostly in the high 80s, low 90s with his fastball.
Runner going, swing and a miss. The throw is there from Pudge Rodriguez for the tag by Matsui. And Granderson is caught stealing from 2 to 4. Pudge gunning out his 8th of the year.
Well, and Jimmy Leyland can usually count on Polanco to make contact in a hit and run play, but he comes up empty, and Curtis Granderson is hung out to dry. Perfect throw.
Pudge has thrown out 8 of 24 now for 33%. The count is 0-2 on Polanco. Pitch in tight, makes it a 1-ball 2-strike count to the former St. Louis Cardinals 2nd sacker.
It's kind of ironic because Granderson, a guy who's capable of stealing a base, but with Pudge behind the plate, and Jimmy Leyland probably figured, well, let's hit and run, because it's so tough to run on Pudge, and Polanco swings and misses.
Poke foul. Cardinals made a deal for Mark DeRosa last night. He'll play 3rd base for them. Cardinals and Milwaukee share the lead in the NL Central right now. The Astros are only 4 games out in 5th.
Strong-armed reliever Chris Perez goes to the Indians. They've been looking to add an arm to their bullpen. DeRosa, a lot of clubs had interest in him, so the Cardinals fire the first shot.
In tight, and it's 2-2. DeRosa's having a very good year, and the Cardinals pick up a right-handed bat who hits with power against left-handed pitching. They've been somewhat vulnerable against the southpaws this year. And they're not sure about the return of Troy Gloss at 3rd base. He takes it down, and it's 3-2.
Take a look at some news and notes around Major League Baseball. The headliner, of course, DeRosa moving on to the Cardinals. Manny hit a home run on A-ball last night. Tim Wakefield, maybe an all-star, picking up win number 10. Adrian Beltre will have shoulder surgery. So I'm guessing done for the year.
Yeah. 3-2 coming to Polanco. And he smacks a line drive right past Ortiz. So the Tigers are 2 for 2, but they have a runner at first and 1 out. And Cabrera coming up. Tigers would have loved for that to happen with the runner moving a few pitches ago, but here's the result.
Fastball down, out over the plate a little bit. Polanco Not a guy who typically hits for a lot of power. He did hit a home run here the other night, so you get deep in the count on him. You're going to challenge him.
Miguel Cabrera bats. He's 3 for 8 in this series with a homer. It's a lazy foul ball out of play for strike one. Cabrera has 90 hits already this season. Good play there. Cabrera's second in the batting race in the American League at 336. Everybody's got to touch it now. Breaking pitch in the dirt. Cabrera on the appeal at first. Checked his swing. Bill Welke with the call. It's a 1-ball, 1-strike count. Cabrera's in the top 10 in on base and slugging. Terrific hitter.
Great concentration. And he's a hero.
Yeah, he is.
Something coming here. Either pitch out or pick off.
Jim Leyland was disappointed in the outing of Alfredo Figueroa last night. Astros jumping on him for single runs in the first and second, then a 5-spot in the third on the way to an 8-1 win. Backing Felipe Paulino with that early run support, and he had not had a lot of run support prior to that this year. Fastball, one hopper. Blum gets it to second. Matsui relays it to Berkman. It's 5-4-3, and the Astros turn their 78th double play. No runs, 2 hits, nobody left. Good infield work as Jeff Blum. Michael Bourne leads it off in center field. He was a whirling dervish last night. He's followed by Jeff Keppinger making his second start at shortstop. Lance Berkman's at first base. Carlos Lee, the cleanup man in left field. Jeff Blum returning to the lineup at third base. Hunter Pence in right field. Pudge Rodriguez catcher. Kazuo Matsui second base. Russ Ortiz pitcher. And it's Edwin Jackson. First pitch, Michael Bourne fouls it. Strike one. Michael leads the league in steals with 25. 300 batting average, 2 homers, 19 runs batted in, a big series, 5 for 7. He was 3 for 4 last night and drew a walk. Jackson goes to 1-1. Jackson was drafted by the Dodgers in 01. That's what he's doing.
He's doing a lot of things right. 2.40 ERA, second best in the American League. There's a sweetheart of a changeup. Fastball, slider, the rare curveball, and a straight change. Whip, walks plus hits per innings pitched, third best in the American League. 214 batting average. 14-game winner for the Rays last season. As Brownie mentioned, originally a Dodger, and for a number of years was considered their top pitching prospect. And kind of stumbled along, always had the good arm, couldn't quite figure it out. And this has been a sweet deal for the Tigers. Edwin Jackson to the Rays for Matt Joyce.
Hot shot to second. Polanco. One out for Jackson.
Well, let's look at the Tigers defensively this afternoon. A much improved defensive team over last year. Thames, Granderson, and Ordonez in the outfield. A big difference maker has been Adam Everett. He and Brandon Idge make some great plays on the left side. Polanco and Cabrera. Gerald Laird back in there. He had to leave the game last night with back spasms.
Jeff Kappinger has moved over to play shortstop today. His second start at that position this year. Miguel Tejada has started all but 2 games. Got his first day off June 5th. Kappinger 255, 3 homers, 11 runs batted in, 1 for 7 in this series, with 2 runs batted in the series. He had started the last 10 at third base. 1 ball, 1 strike with Lance Berkman on deck. The Astros swept the Tigers in the Astrodome in '99, and now they're 2-0 against them in this venue. 10 years later, foul ball back, 1-2.
Hey.
So Tigers 0-5 in Houston. Jim Leyland's club, though, has won 7 of the last 9 and has a 4-game lead in its division. This is his 4th year as the Tigers skipper. It's 2 balls and 2 strikes. He's had a lot of great moments in his career. Tap, foul, third base side. Still 2-2. Tigers are on a 3-city road trip. They go to Oakland and Minnesota after this series. Edwin Jackson, after win number 7 of the year. He is 1-4 in his career in interleague play with a 6.04 ERA. A shot up the middle, and that's on through. So these hitters are really zoning in and going back to the box for both clubs.
This slider must not break in interleague play. Yeah, the Tigers hit the ball hard. All 3 of their hitters hit the ball hard, but because of the caught stealing a double play, had nothing to show for it. Now good swing of the bat here by Kappinger.
Lance Berkman, 6 for 9 the last 3 games with 2 homers, 6 runs batted in. Back in his old familiar number 3 spot in the lineup. He was 2 for 4 with a 2-run double last night. It's strike 1. Lance has been batting 5th recently. But Tejada resting today. So Berkman is in the 3 spot with Blum batting 5th. That one sailed. Laird snatched it. 1 ball and 1 strike. Lance 7 for 15 on this homestand with 2 homers, 6 runs batted in. Has really come alive. It's 2 balls and a strike. Jackson is 2-0 lifetime against Houston in 3 starts. His ERA in those 3 games is 3.78.
You look at that 2.40 ERA and may be inclined to think, well, he pitches at Comerica. That's obviously a great pitcher's ballpark. That's been the difference maker. But his ERA on the road is 1.89.
Wow.
So it doesn't matter where he goes. He's a very good pitcher.
Missing there. Ball's behind 3-1.
I'm with you, Edwin. I'm doing a double take on that one too. Like he had the outside part of the plate.
Shot a glance back in at James Hoy.
He's got such a good fastball. Lance probably can count on seeing one if he can catch up to it.
Bouncer to shortstop. Everett steps on the bag and completes the double play. Both clubs get a ground ball double play in the first, and there's no score.
To honor some of the great moments, we present the 10-year bracket challenge. So this week, the debate is between Craig Biggio's final game in 07 and Jeff Kent's game-winning home run, bottom of the ninth, Game 5 of the 04 NLCS. So pick which one of those you want to see advance into the semis. Don't lose any sleep over it, though.
0-0 game. Marcus Thames leads it off in the Tigers' second against Russ Ortiz.
Enough stress in people's lives nowadays. We don't want too much heat on them.
Oh, no. 275, 5 homers, 12 runs batted in for Thames. He's 2 for 5 in this series. Thames came off the disabled list June 7th. He's hit .288 since he came back. Curveball makes it 1-1. Lloyd McClendon is the hitting coach for the Tigers, former Pittsburgh manager. And he said they're really missing Carlos Guillen, switch hitter with the 100 RBI capability. He's sidelined with an injury right now. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Ortiz moved the slider out, and Thames went out there and chased it.
Yeah, Guillen's only played 24 games for the Tigers this year. There's that late breaking slider off the outside edge.
Tigers are only 9th in runs scored in the American League. Foul ball there, keeps it at 1 ball, 2 strikes. Guillen, a former infielder, came from the Astros system. He had a 102 RBI year for the Tigers in 07. Drove in 97 for Seattle in 04. Ortiz really mixes it up well when he's pitching the way he wants to, doesn't he, JD?
Yeah, that's his game. You know, back in the day, he could overpower you, but not so much anymore. So he relies on movement and command, changing speeds, moving the ball in and out. See, he worked him off the plate a couple of times with that slider or cut fastball, and now he's moved back inside. You have to make the hitters aware of in, out, and be able to change speeds. And obviously, the harder you throw, that becomes not as important. When your fastball is average or maybe a notch below, it's all about the craft of pitching.
Thames is from Louisville, Mississippi. He was drafted by the Yankees, traded to the Rangers. Ruben Sierra. Detroit signed him as a free agent in December of 03. And he chased the slider again and struck out. Number 1 for Ortiz.
He had him swinging early in the count, and then he worked inside on him a little bit to open that outside corner again, and Thames flailing at the cutter off the plate.
Brandon Inge with a .271 average, 17 homers, 49 runs batted in. Had 2 hits Friday night. He's 2 for 7 in the series. Takes a fastball right there for strike 1. Tigers are 9th in drawing walks in the American League. Inge with good numbers, back at third base after catching quite a bit last season. Stays on the breaking ball, but pops it up. Lance Berkman for the second out.
Fox Sports Houston is now on Facebook. Expand your sporting network. Stay connected by logging on to Facebook.com, searching for Fox Sports Houston. Home teams all the time.
Russ Ortiz has had back-to-back quality starts. And this is his 4th start since he came out of the bullpen, this latest time to join the rotation. Maglio Ordonez is jammed on that one. There's strike 1. To the slumping right fielder with a .270 average, 3 homers, 24 runs batted in. 0 for 4 in this series. He was rested last night, and that's been the case recently, as the Tigers hope that Ordonez can return to top form. 1 ball, 1 strike. He's a big bat in their lineup. Snapped a streak of 40 games and 150 at bats without a homer Thursday when he connected against the Cubs. 1-2 to Maglio Ordonez, 35 years old, from Caracas, Venezuela. He's a solid run producer for the Chicago White Sox. He had 4 straight years over 100 runs batted in.
Driven in 107 times in his career.
Punch to right field. Hunter Pence in and over toward the line. Russ Ortiz really pitched well in that second inning, keeping the game scoreless. Here in the last of the second inning. Lofts it foul and out of play. There's strike one for Edwin Jackson. Jackson working to a .299 hitter with 12 homers, 44 runs batted in. Carlos has hit .278 on this homestand. Fouling that one back. He's behind 0-2. He was 2 for 4 last night, driving in a run in the first inning. The Astros are 17-10 since they dropped to 18-27 and 9 games out. Up the right field line, Ordonez moving over, and foul ground, and it's snagged by Cabrera. It was back to the infield. Nice catch by the big first sacker. 1 out.
Cabrera defensively does not have a sterling reputation, but he makes a nice play here. He was the only option. Polanco wasn't going to get there. Ordonez not even close.
Tiger fan in the seats behind him certainly liked the play. 1 out for Jeff Blum, who had 2 injury rehab games for AAA Round Rock before returning. And Edwin Masonette, who served the Astros very well, will be heading back to Round Rock soon. .270 for Jeff Blum, 1 homer, 18 runs batted in. Inside, and it's 2-0 to Blum, who has a .341 on base average. Jeff has been out with a left hamstring strain. He aggravated that and had the injury earlier this season, was trying to nurse it for a while, and then went on the DL. Bouncer right side. Cabrera is out of the play. The pitcher covering. Polanco gets it to him for a 4-1 out, number 2. Hunter Pence will follow. So the Astros are really going through some personnel changes now these last few days. Blum a part of that as he returns. Masonette showed that he can help the club. He's headed back to AAA. Matt Queta stays. Mike Hampton comes off the disabled list to pitch Tuesday night in San Diego. Hunter Pence, 317 with 10 homers, has 31 runs batted in. Ball 1 to Hunter.
It's, to win a division, to advance to the postseason, you need a lot of help outside of your original 25-man roster. You're going to have to either make deals. People will come up from the minor leagues, even if it's for just a couple of weeks, to fill in, make a positive contribution, can be a real difference maker. Edwin Masonette certainly performed well while he was here, showing that he's capable of hanging in the big leagues. But recently had not had any plate appearances, so an opportunity for him to go back down there and play.
Hammer to center field. Granderson back, still back, and he makes a fine catch. That ball was rocked by Hunter Pence, but Granderson. Cancer Center and by Southwest Airlines. Historic Union Station there. Russ Ortiz here. It's 0-0. He throws a breaking pitch to Gerald Laird, who left the game in the bottom of the first last night with back spasms, received treatment all during the game, and voila, he's back in the starting lineup, hitting .233, 3 homers, 17 runs batted in. Quick recovery for Laird. And he bunts. Ortiz has plenty of time though. Throws him out.
A July 12th, 105 game. Astros take on the Nationals. And we have a lot of stuff going on. Kids 14 and under, free in select seating levels. That's the parents buy one, kids get 2 free. Eat free, courtesy of HEB, Coca-Cola, and Aramark. That's free dog, free Coke. There's a lot of stuff going on. I suggest you check out Astros.com for all that information, because it's just way more than I can read in this little sequence here.
Serious stuff going on that day, though. Strike one to Adam Everett, 267, 2 homers, 27 runs batted in. He pulled a double off the left field scoreboard wall in the second inning Friday night, going 1 for 3 with a sack. Got a night off last night. And in one of the stories in the Detroit papers, he said he was pretty nervous coming back to Houston. 1 ball and 1 strike. Edwin Jackson on deck. Russ Ortiz getting the feel of being back in that rotation. That wasn't tempting enough for Adam to go for it. It's 2 balls and a strike. Russ opened the season in the bullpen. Then he made 3 starts. Back to the bullpen. 1 start. Back to the pen. And this is his 4th start in a row since he emerged from the bullpen. All have been good. Good fastball there. Makes it 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Adam had designs on the Crawford boxes with that aggressive hat.
Yeah.
The Astros will go with the 6-man rotation up to the All-Star break and then adjust from there. Got the suspended game to finish with the Nationals. And everybody's throwing the ball well, so it'd be very difficult to take somebody out of the rotation right now. You're going to go down to Felipe Paulino after last night's game and say, hey, kid, you're going to AAA.
No, you can't do that.
No. And, so, be an extra day of rest for everybody. Mike Hampton rejoins the rotation Tuesday.
Shallow right field, Hunter Pence, Matsui calling and catching. 2 outs. Well, Boston was going to do that same thing. John Smoltz came back. Don't know if they stuck with that plan because they placed Daisuke Matsuzaka on the DL. But they were going to look at that short term. Edwin Jackson is 0 for 2 as a batter this season.
Yeah, well, the Astros now, and obviously that's not going to be the long-term solution. Like I said, they've got that suspended game with the Nationals to finish off. So they're going to run with it till the All-Star break. And then the other thing, you had a couple kids down in the minor leagues that are banging on the door. Bud Norris has an ERA of 2.17 now. And Luzardo really throwing the ball well.
So the Astros have some pleasant problems, as they say in baseball, meaning there seem to be more good players than spots available, but that's something the manager doesn't mind dealing with.
It's better than the alternative.
Ooh, much better. That's way upstairs. He started to swing and then slipped. He checked the swing. 1 ball, 2 strikes for Jackson.
Jackson didn't do a lot of pitching in high school. Dodgers drafted him. He was just a real good athlete. He was an outfielder. They initially used him as a position player. And then they started to swing like that. And they said, let's make him a pitcher.
Strikeout number 2. Ortiz has faced 9 through the first.
th hit of his career, and 3001 and 3002. As a matter of fact, Craig got 5 hits in that game. Second time in his career he did that, all singles, becoming the first Astro and 27th player all time to reach that milestone, 3,000 hits, and the first ever to do it in a 5-hit ball game.
Number 7. Nothing now. Bottom of the 3rd inning. Rodriguez, Matsui, and Ortiz against Jackson. We'd like to get well wishes out to Sally Gunter, media relations manager, who's been in the hospital. Hope to see her again.
What's going on, Sally? I didn't know Sally was sick.
Strep throat. Pretty bad case of it, too. Sorry to hear that.
He's back home now, though, right?
Yep.
Resting comfortably.
Hopefully.
Having some chicken soup.
Yeah, that'd be a good plan. No talking loud, Sally. 1 ball, 1 strike to Pudge. 254, 6 homers, 29 runs batted in. Pudge 4 for 12 on this homestand. 3-game hitting streak right now for Pudge. Time.
Whoa.
Whoa. Time,
wow.
no. Time, no. Yeah. Everybody was jerking around.
Pudge is apologizing and on me. Up. And the umpire wasn't going to give it to him, and then Laird rose up.
Yeah. Catching fraternity. 1 ball and 2 strikes.
Gee, if Jackson would have finished his delivery and thrown one of those 96-mile-an-hour knee-high fastballs, that would have been real ugly. Bodies would have been flying this way and that.
In the air, Cabrera over into foul ground. Makes that catch for out number 1. Sally Gunter and the media relations folks have had a lot of work to do. And with all these milestones, our Texas 4 dealers, league leaders, we'll check the National League ERA leaders for starters in June, updated, including the first 3 innings of this game. Russ Ortiz has the lowest, 1.59. Then it's Dan Herron, Ricky Nolasco, Tim Lincecum, and John Lannon. The ERA leaders for June.
Dan Herron's been near the top of that list all year long.
Yes, he has. Matsui bunts foul, strike 1. Kazuo hit a home run last night. His second of the year. He has 16 runs batted in, a 246 average. That was in the 5-run 3rd inning. And it was his first home run since April 8th. He had gone 166 at bats between long balls.
I think some ugly swings at inside breaking balls, but lately he's been swinging it well. He's hit successfully in 8 of his last 9 games, and in 4 of those he's had 2 hits. Average creeping up there.
Fouls that one away. He's hit 364 here in the month of June, 12 for 33. So that's the kind of stuff Gene Diaz and Sally Gunter provide us, and they've been keeping track of all these milestones this year. That's been a lot of extra work. 1 ball, 2 strikes with Pudge setting the all-time record for games caught, and Lance with his 300th homer and 1,000th RBI. And Carlos is getting close to 300. Pudge hit his 300th home run. Foul ball and out of play. And this will be the first time any team has ever had 3 players hit their 300th homer in the same season when Carlos does it. That's the kind of thing they keep tabs of.
Well, here's another thing they keep tabs of, and this is vital.
Okay.
The Astros are 8-3 on Sundays this year.
Okay.
So we are prohibitive favorites in this ball game.
Well, wait a minute now.
Team is.
But the Tigers have a good record on weekends, too.
Uh-oh.
So it's a battle of the weekend records. Line drive to Inge. 2 outs.
Good at bat. Just a tough result for Caswell. Hung in there, hit it hard. So he's getting some pretty decent swings at Jackson. He's got above average stuff, to say the least. He's a really talented young right-hander. Long on promise earlier in his career, had not really delivered, but lately he has really stepped up.
Russ Ortiz is 4 for 17, 235, 1 homer, 2 runs batted in for Russ. And there's strike 1. Jackson gave him a 97-mile-per-hour heater. It's a sign of respect.
Saving his best heater for the opposing pitcher.
Outside. Back in 03, when Jackson was promoted to the big leagues with the Dodgers, he beat Randy Johnson in his major league debut on his 20th birthday. One ball, 2 strikes. In his last 9 starts, his ERA has been 1.99. Strike 3. He has faced only 9. Ortiz has faced only 9 through 3. It's the first strikeout. name the only two players who reached 500 RBIs quicker than Miguel Cabrera. Let's see.
Throw Pujols in the mix.
Okay. How about Lou Gehrig?
Lou Gehrig. How about?
It's not Lou Gehrig.
How about Hank Greenberg?
Oh yeah, Hank Greenberg, great RBI man. Phil Boudreau says, "What about Al Kaline?" It's another possibility. Curtis Granderson leads off the fourth inning.
Are we talking age or major league years?
We're not sure.
We need clarification from the board on this one.
Throwing names out there. Having a good time on a Sunday.
Truck, can you inform us? Are we looking at reaching RBIs in terms of games played or in terms of age?
Well, we'll just have to proceed. 2 balls, no strikes to Curtis Granderson, who opened the game with a sharp single to center field. Then he was thrown out trying to steal by Pudge Rodriguez. It was actually a hit and run play, and Polanco swung and missed at the pitch.
Okay, we got clarification. We're looking for age.
Okay. Little number out to shortstop. Here's a difficult play, and it's an infield hit. Granderson rolled it just softly enough to beat it out, and he's 2 for 2.
Been some hard outs, now a soft hit. It's a little revenge for the hitters here. And he is a threat to run, as we saw last time in a busted hit and run play.
Even with that caught stealing, he's 13 of 17. Polanco single to center field in the first. Polanco 7 for 23 lifetime against Russ Ortiz with a couple of homers.
Yeah, and that's precisely why. And I didn't see Granderson's jump the first go around, but that's why if you're a base stealer, it doesn't matter who you are. But if you're up there and it's a hit and run play, the old way that play was taught was, hey, you don't have to get a great jump. You're counting on contact. Be safe. Make sure you don't get picked off. But with a right-handed pitcher on the mound, go ahead and act like you're stealing the base. Try to get the best jump possible in case the guy at home plate comes up empty. I'm going to venture to say we will see no more than 2 base runners picked off by a right-handed pitcher this year.
Okay. No more than 2.
No more than 2. Because I don't remember seeing one yet.
No. But Justin Verlander really has a quick move.
He might get you.
Boy.
He's the quickest I've seen.
He is really quick. 1 ball, 1 strike.
And I don't mean where the guy tries to get a crazy jump and then the pitcher steps off and they get him that way. I mean a conventional pickoff. And the guy's diving back into first and the right-hander beats him with a throw. You almost never see that.
Grounder third, Blum, short hop play. Matsui and Buckman. That's the second time that combination has turned 2.
I really don't think of Russ as a ground ball pitcher because he got 2 real big ones here today. A couple around the horn double plays.
That is 70 ground ball double plays the Astros have turned this year.
And Jim Leyland's had his leadoff man on twice now. The first time he sent him, it turned into an out. Now he doesn't run and it turns into a double play. He's banging his head against the wall in the dugout.
Cabrera looks at ball 1. He hit into that first double play. So let's see, guys who got to 500 runs batted in.
Well, if we're talking age, then it's still like Pujols.
Yeah.
But we're hearing that it's both of these guys are not active. So Kaline, anytime you talk age, Kaline's a good guess.
Yeah. He broke in when he was what, 19?
Yeah. Robin Yount, also a guy who came up at a very tender age.
What about Ty Cobb?
Yeah, Ty Cobb.
You realize that Ty Cobb is 4th on the all-time RBI list?
Well, there you go. He's got to be our answer. He was what, 18 when he came to the big leagues?
Yeah.
Maybe 19.
And but he's not one of them.
Oh man.
to right center field. Michael Bourne, Hunter Pence. Hunter with the catch. And it still is the minimum faced by Russ Ortiz. The Tigers have 3 hits. Russ has 2 double play balls. No score. That is just a very weak effort on our part.
didn't even throw Teddy Ballgame's name out there.
Didn't even think of him. Michael Bourne now. Strike 1.
Mel Ott, it would have taken me a while to come up with Mel.
Yeah.
But Teddy Ballgame.
1 ball and 1 strike to Michael Bourne. And he was whipped after that game last night, after that long run down. Worn out. 1 ball, 2 strikes. As he said in the interview with Greg Lucas on the postgame show. Well, he kept it going a long time. And almost made it back to first, but a diving Brandon Inge got the out call on it. Still 1-2 on Michael. Edwin Jackson has had very little run support. 3rd lowest in the American League this season. So here he is, 0-0 in the 4th inning. Throwing ball 2, and it's 2-2.
Ted Williams drove in 145 runs his rookie year at the age of 20.
Wow. It's amazing.
His best year in 1949, he drove in 159. He was the MVP that year. But yeah, first 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. First 8 years in the league drove in better than 100.
Bourne cracks one into right center field. He's got extra bases. Michael Bourne is going to roll. He's headed for 3rd base. It's a triple, and he's standing up with an easy triple. Number 6 for the National League leader.
I tell you what, that was one fine trade Ed Wade made, because this guy can play. He learned to hit the ball hard the other way, and now he's made the adjustment with the ability to turn on the occasional pitch. And once this one split the alley, you knew no way they were going to stop him from getting 3 bases, and any mishandle, and Dave Clark maybe would have been able to send him home.
He's at 3rd for Jeff Keppinger. Inge is even with the bag at 3rd. Cabrera is off the line even with first base. And that hit him. Runners at 1st and 3rd for Lance Berkman now. Keppinger doubled over. Pitched 93 miles per hour. Right in the rib cage. First hit batsman for Jackson.
As Kep walks down to first, contemplating, why does Miggy need a day off today? What's up with that?
Yeah. Really. So now, first and third, Berkman bounced into a double play in the first inning after working the count to 3-1. He hit the ball to Adam Everett. That's a .406 career hitter against Detroit. Double play set up for Everett and Polanco. And there's strike one. Carlos Lee on deck. Jackson beat the Angels with a complete game June 6th, 2-1. 8 out of 19. Lance Berkman with that runner at third and less than 2 outs. He does it again as this is deep enough to left center to get Michael Bourne home for a 1-0 lead on a sac fly by Berkman. His 45th run batted in. He takes over the club lead.
Trying to crowd him with a fastball. It drifts back over the plate. It's a similar pitch, although the one last time was down and out a little bit more that he rolled over on, hit the ground ball double play. This time he stays through it. Too hard to left center. And the Astros get the jump.
Carlos Lee fouled out to Miguel Cabrera. Looks at ball one. When Jackson completed that game against the Angels for the 2-1 win, he struck out the side in the ninth. So he can save something for later on. Into left field, that loops in for a hit in front of Marcus Thames. A single for Carlos Lee. Hit number 3 for the Astros.
Second time around the order. Astros having some success against hard throwing righty. This is a slider. Stayed on the plate and up a little bit.
2 men on for Jeff Blum.
And Jackson, always a good sign for the hitters when the pitcher's talking to himself out there.
Blummer hit a tap, fielded by the second baseman, who threw to the pitcher back in the second inning. And an RBI Friday night in his second rehab game for Round Rock. He joined the club and just rested last night because today's the first day he can officially be returned from the DL after 15 inactive days. And that was strike one to Blummer. Reds lead the Indians 7-1 in Cleveland, middle of the sixth. One ball, one strike. Micah Owings is pitching for the Reds. They have a home run from Johnny Gomes in that game. Johnny Peralta is playing third for Cleveland after the trade. Mark DeRosa leaving. Flared over third. Brandon Inge with his back to the infield. Now turns. Infield fly called. He got back early to get that call. 2 outs. Jack in the Box standings will show you the Astros minor league report, and JD was talking about Bud Norris. His ERA down to 2.17 for Round Rock. Yorman Bizzardo has a 2.79 ERA. Andrew Locke sizzling still at Corpus. 71 runs batted in. Jason Castro will play in the All-Star Futures game. He's hitting .298 at Corpus. Jonathan Gaston with 18 homers for Lancaster. Tonight, minor league baseball coming your way here on Fox Sports Houston. The Iowa Cubs versus the Round Rock Express. Mark McLemore going from Round Rock against Greg Reinhardt. Hunter Pence takes a look at strike one. He hit a liner to center field in the second inning. So the Reds and the Cubs are both just a half game in front of the Astros. Reds winning today. Cubs have had some battles with the White Sox in their series.
Cubs have had some battles with the Cubs in that series. Piniella and Milton Bradley have a little dust up there. The standings, and it's a wild and wacky race in the NL Central. Everybody in the hunt.
Katie barred the door, JD. They went for an interesting season. Where did Katie disappear to?
Yeah.
I'm not sure. It wasn't Katie Feeney. 1 ball, 2 strikes. She doesn't bar the door at Major League Baseball headquarters in New York. White Sox have just scored twice to take the lead over the Cubs. 2-0. Bottom of the third at U.S. Cellular in Chicago. Off Carlos Zambrano. John Danks pitching for the other Chicago team. Hunter Pence looks at ball 2, and it's 2-2 to Hunter. Alexi Ramirez hit a 2-run homer off Zambrano. Number 10 for Alexi. Buzz Rodriguez on deck here. 2 outs and 2 on. Liner left. That's in for a hit. It goes into the corner. That'll score Keppinger. And Carlos Lee's being sent home by Dave Clark. The ball is out of play now.
The fan touched it. The fan interference rule. Now they'll place the base runners.
Now the umpires have the judgment here. Where would the runners have gone had the fan not interfered with the baseball? Can make it difficult on them. It would be much easier if fans did not interfere with baseballs in play, but the umpires have to now decide where those runners would have wound up had that not happened. Fans are booing. They might be booing the person who interfered with it. Not sure about that. They might be booing the fact that Carlos Lee could be brought back off the bench. See what James Hoy indicates.
Yeah, it looks like that's going to be the case. They almost always do this. They almost always just treat it like a ground rule double.
It could have cost Hunter an RBI in this case.
And more importantly, it might ultimately cost you the ball game.
Yeah.
I mean, the fan got an arm on it, but didn't really change the nature of it at all. I mean, if I were Coop, I think I would argue that one. I don't know that anything could be done. This ball heading down into that corner, and I guess maybe it hits off that wall and kicks back out towards the left fielder. Yeah. And Carlos was ready. He knew. Please don't make me run. Come on, I'm here. I'm going to have a drink of water and hang out.
Just took his run off the board, and it's 2-0 with Buzz Rodriguez, who fouled out to first. Getting that one foul. That was double number 15 for Hunter Pence. His 32nd run batted in. And 2-0. So a hit here could be very big the way Russ Ortiz is pitching. Buzz a .269 career hitter against Detroit. He played for the Tigers for 3.5 years. Phillies are up at Toronto 5-4. They're in the bottom of the 6th. Aaron Hill hit his 18th and 19th. He's having quite a year. No balls, 2 strikes. The Phillies have been an exceptional team on the road this year. 25-12.
Been exceptional at home too, for the wrong reason. 13-22 in their own ballpark.
Sammy Moyer lasted 5 innings, giving up 4 earned runs today. Swing and a miss, and Jackson gets a strikeout. Number 2. Astros getting a feel for their home park. They've won 10 of their last 15 here. And they have opened up a 2-0 lead for Russ Ortiz after 4. James Hoy is back behind the plate. Russ Ortiz getting set for the 5th inning. He'll be working to Marcus Thames first of all. Thames struck out on a 3-2 offering in the 2nd. That one to center field. Michael Bourne started back. Now he's coming in. 1 pitch, 1 out for Ortiz in the 5th. You were telling us about this 6-man rotation, JD, and I was thinking about Ortiz, who missed all of last season. That might really wear well. And Mike Hampton hasn't pitched a lot the last few years, so you might be concerned about putting too many innings on those two guys.
Yeah, again, I don't think it's a long-term solution. I don't think they would do it beyond the All-Star break, but I mean, it's the time of year anyway. If guys have piled up a bunch of innings, you're looking to find them an extra day of rest. Certainly, the way Russ and Mike have been used, you wouldn't consider them having piled up a bunch of innings, but imagine Wandy and Roy could maybe benefit from an extra day.
Strike 1 to Inge. He popped to first earlier. No balls, 2 strikes. Tigers have homered in 11 straight games. That's the first time they've done that since 2000.
Oh, the little guy threw the ball. Now he's crying. This is a scene we see replayed many times at the ballpark. The little guy, you get a ball, you throw it. That's what you do with it. And it's, no, don't throw it away. And then he starts crying. Happens all the time.
Poor little fella. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
The minute he was in his crib, his dad was sticking a ball in his hand saying, throw it, son. And he gets one at the ballpark. He heaves it. His dad says, no.
Grounder left side in the hole. Keppinger, long throw, puts everything he has into it, but not enough to prevent the infield single by Inge. Even if the throw had not bounced, Inge would have beaten it out. Inge doubled over there. It's like everything is not right with him, and they'll get a trainer out to him.
Kevin Rand, a longtime trainer. He was with the Marlins for a while, came up with the Yankees. Now he's working for Jim Leyland here in Detroit. Let's see what happens for Inge as he hits the bag. Is it an ankle?
Did he step on Lance?
I think he stepped on the corner of the bag and maybe rolled it a little bit.
Yep. Last night, Laird had to come out. Back spasms in the 1st inning. Now Inge apparently is okay.
It was just a twinge for Inge. Stretches out. He just catches the side of the bag and that ankle rolls. That's a scary feeling, too, when that ankle goes. You think, uh-oh.
Well, they can ice it and tape it very quickly when he gets back. Sometimes there's not a whole lot of time to do that before he has to take a position. Maglio Ordonez with a fly ball to right in the 2nd. Ordonez hits this one in the air to right as well. Hunter Pence moving over. 2 down.
Astro fans, it's summertime in Houston. Gee, you think?
Really?
And no better way to catch an Astros game than with a group at Minute Maid Park. 20 or more, you qualify for group rates, and it's a sweetheart of a deal, up to 50% off on great tickets. 1-800-ASTROS2 or Astros.com. So give them a call. They can customize a package for your group, church group, work group, people you don't generally care for but might want to go watch a ball game with.
You can sit on the other end of the row if you want to. Strike 1 to Laird. Laird tried to bunt his way on, and Ortiz threw him out, but he did have a leadoff bunt single in the 4th inning Friday night. And you were telling us then he likes to do that. Now with 2 outs, that would be a shocker.
Yeah, especially because he's got a little pop. With 2 outs, you're thinking about an extra base hit to try to drive that run in. You don't want somebody who's capable of hitting the ball in the seats or over the outfielders' heads bunting for a hit with 2 outs with a man on base. I'm looking for him to try to drive the run in.
He rips this one to left center field. A long run here for Michael Bourne. That baby's really scalded. And it stays in play. And here is a relay throw to the plate from Kappinger. And he's safe in scoring to make it 2-1 on the long RBI double by Laird.
Laird did what he was supposed to do. He took a big rip at it. He got the extra base hit, and Inge, despite the tweaked ankle, able to make his way all the way around the bases. Although I wasn't sure, the final few strides looked a little wobbly, and he crashed into home plate. Well played by Michael out here.
He just gave out.
Not sure what that was.
Like, what are those birds that don't know how to land? Goonie birds or whatever they are. They just crash. Adam Everett, the batter. And there's strike one. We'll be getting plenty of emails on that soon. Everett popped to second in the third inning.
It's like he had a mirage and he thought home plate was 10 feet closer than it really was.
That would be a nightmare for a baseball player. You think about scoring a run like that. You can't ever get home.
Yeah. I still have the occasional. I'm supposed to be the starting pitcher in a game, and I can't find my spikes. Yeah, you know, I can remember when you were a kid, you always had the school dream. You know, you had a test, and you couldn't find the classroom. And I can't remember there was a pitcher I heard interviewed the other day he was saying that he had that very same dream. I have it every now and then.
1 ball, 2 strikes. So some of the fans think number 28 looks better on Adam. His number with Houston than number 4 in Detroit. And the Tigers very happy to have him as their shortstop. And they also use Ramon Santiago at that position some. One hopper. Kappinger goes to Berkman and just nips Everett. 1 run, 2 hits. 1 left for the Tigers. It's 2-1 Houston in the 5th. Bud Light showing you the starters for the upcoming series in San Diego. For Houston, it's Roy Oswalt, Mike Hampton, Brian Moeller, and Wandy Rodriguez. Thursday is a day game at 2 o'clock. All games on Fox Sports Houston. 8:30 tomorrow night for Astros Live. In the NL West, the Padres are 32-41. They're 15 behind the Dodgers. San Francisco also the second leg on the two-city road trip. The Giants are playing well. 8 games out.
Giants currently the wild card leader in the National League. Well, no, actually they've slipped one behind St. Louis now.
Okay.
But just looking at those West standings, you'd have to think that Diamondbacks are toast. I mean, anything's possible. San Diego probably not capable of making a run. Colorado's been a great story the way they've turned things around.
Yeah, it's been amazing. And Jim Tracy there, 39-35. So they're right there in the thick of the wild card. 1-2 to Matsui. The starters for San Diego in that series will be Josh Gear tomorrow night. To be announced Tuesday. Walter Silva Wednesday. Kevin Correa Thursday.
Walter Silva.
Yeah.
I'm familiar with Walter.
Walter's 0-1 with a 9.35 ERA.
Just recently called up, I'm assuming?
Yes. I think he was with them briefly, maybe one start earlier in the season. Well, they have Jake Peavy and Chris Young on the disabled list. And some other injuries on the club, too. So, yeah, we look at where they are in the standings, 32-41. They've had tons of losses to the injuries.
And they actually played pretty well in their own ballpark, so you think, well, it's going to be easy to play the Padres, but they're 21-15 at Petco Park.
Ah.
Big yard.
Doesn't stop Adrian Gonzalez from hitting homers. 2 hopper to first, Cabrera tossing, and in time to retire Matsui. 3-1 play.
No, but it does make you contemplate how many he would have if he were playing in, say, Philadelphia.
Yes. Russ Ortiz comes up. He struck out looking in the third. The Astros have signed another draft choice. You might have seen him pitch for the University of Arkansas during the College World Series. Left-handed starter Dallas Keuchel, 7th round pick. The Astros now have signed 35 players already. Foul ball. They've signed picks 1 through 11 and 13 through 25. So they're getting these guys on the field quickly this season. And that's what their strategy is all about.
The number 1 pick, Giovanni Meyer, had a nice debut, went 2 for 3.
Liner caught by Polanco, 2 for 3 with 2 runs scored from Meyer for Greenville last night. Our power play is brought to you by Reliant Energy. Michael Bourne opened the home fourth with a triple, lead-off triple. That's always very helpful in setting up a scoring inning. He did come around on the sac fly by Lance Berkman.
That's how quickly he got there, too.
Yeah. And now Michael takes strike 1.
He hit it, and then the next thing you know, boom, there he is at third base.
It's about that fast for him. He's 1 for 2 in this game. He's now scored 43 runs this year. 1-1. So, yeah, talking with Bobby Heck, that's what it was all about for the Astros in the draft this year, determining signability in advance. And they certainly did that and then went to work and signed these guys. Now they're already playing ball. That's actually, by modern day standards, Meyer already having played his first game here before the end of June. That's considered to be pretty doggone fast. First rounders sometimes take a while to sign. 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Well, the deadline for signing draft picks is August 15th. And a lot of times with those top guys, it goes right down to the wire.
Yeah. Good disguised breaking pitch, and it gets strikeout number 3 for Jackson. And a 1-2-3 fifth. 2-1. It's 2-1. Houston leading, top of the 6th inning. Time now for our Dodge Grab Life feature. Here's Russ Ortiz on what's on his iPod.
Everything. I got Christian music, I got country music, rock, some hip hop, alternative. Yeah, so it's a variety of everything.
Strike to Jackson. Edwin Jackson struck out in the 3rd inning. Tigers have 5 hits off Ortiz. The Astros have 4 hits off Jackson. With Houston leading 2-1. It's 1-1. Edwin Jackson suffered through a 5-15 year for Tampa Bay in 07.
Good hack there at that high fastball. He was born in Germany. His dad was in the Army. His dad was a cook in the Army for a long time. Retired as a staff sergeant.
Those Army cooks can always look out and see their products being enjoyed very quickly. Strikeout number 3.
Ice Age Dawn of the Dinosaurs is hatched in theaters July 1st. It's the coolest comedy of the summer.
Yeah, that looks good, JD.
Yeah, I'm gonna check that out. We just had Andrew in the booth with us.
Yeah.
Today is Coca-Cola, or not? It's Astro Buddies Day, where the kids come around and they kind of check out different parts of the ballpark, different jobs. Andrew was being ferried around by Dave Raymond earlier. He's interested in broadcasting. He's also a high school player, but he told us he was in the movie How to Eat Fried Worms. He played Techno Mouth.
Okay. And you saw this movie, didn't you?
I did.
1 ball, 1 strike. Techno Mouth.
Yeah, he had braces.
Okay. Granderson singled center and beat out a roller shortstop. How to Eat Fried Worms. There's a deep drive to right field. It's hooking, but it stays fair, and that's a line drive homer to tie the game 2-2. Granderson on votes number 18.
Well, we talked about him not being the prototypical leadoff man because it doesn't have the high on-base percentage, but what he does bring to the table is power, a lot like the Soriano over with the Cubs. 12 consecutive now ball games in which the Tigers have gone deep. High cut fastball. He was able to square it up and knock it out of here.
That's 12 straight games in which the Tigers have homered. We'll have to go back to '99 to find out the last time they did that. Polanco, that's at strike 1. He's 1 for 2. 43 runs batted in now for Granderson. He hit a bolt. That's the 6th long ball surrendered by Ortiz in his 63rd inning. And it's a 1-1 count. The Braves are leading the Red Sox 2-0. They're in the top of the 6th in Atlanta. Tommy Hanson is pitching a shutout for the Braves against Brad Penny. Chipper Jones went deep for the 9th time. Garrett Anderson hit number 4. Strike makes it 1-2.
Looks like there's not going to be a real long learning curve for Tommy Hanson.
No.
In the big leagues. It's like his stuff is so good. I really like his makeup. He's come up and really pitched well.
Interesting you would use that phrase. Hit by the pitch. Polanco got it on the left wrist. And the count was 1-2. Now he'll take his base in a painful way. Again, Kevin Rand.
Yeah. Busy weekend for Kevin. Trying to throw a 2-seam fastball in on him. Successful to that end, but just runs more than he would like. More than anybody would like. Russ wasn't trying to hit him. Polanco pays the price. That's what, hitters, the modern hitter tends to drift towards the plate to cover the outside corner, and it's very difficult for them to make that move where you turn inward to avoid an inside fastball.
Polanco's aboard. That's the third hit batsman of the year for Russ Ortiz. And Miguel Cabrera is the batter. It's always something that evokes pain when you hear the sound of that. Almost sounds like the bat hitting the ball. The ball hits bone. Cabrera bounced into a double play and hit a fly ball to right.
I'm always amazed when a player comes out of one of those that doesn't have a broken bone.
Yeah.
It just seems like you get hit by in the hand, the wrist with a 90-mile-an-hour baseball. It seems like it should break something.
Cabrera takes a delayed strike call from James Hoy.
So anyway, you were saying, interesting that I should use that phrase regarding Hansen.
Because apparently, you said the learning curve has been quick. Apparently, he's learned a curveball, and that's what's helping him. Even since he got to the big leagues, he's refined that pitch. So, quite often we see that with young guys. They throw hard, and all the tools look good, but they just don't work out to be the tools that combine into a winning pitcher at the big league level. And they have to learn pretty quickly what does work for them at this level, because it was something they did not need at a lower level to be successful.
Yeah, and I think probably the biggest part of it too is learning the hitters, learning who to attack, who to be careful with.
Right. Cabrera walks slowly back to the bench, and a strikeout, number 4 for Ortiz. That could be really big in this inning.
And it's so important at this level to be able to exploit weaknesses, to go after the soft spot of a hitter. And here they get Cabrera to chase a high fastball.
Ortiz has thrown strike 1 to 18 of 21 batters. Marcus Thames 0 for 2. He does not get strike 1. Ortiz has thrown only 77 pitches in this game. Washington leads at Baltimore 4-1. Adam Dunn hit his 19th. Willie Harris number 4 for the Nationals. 1 ball, 1 strike. Interesting to hear from Bob Boone last night, working for that National club. And it's been a rough season for them. They're 21-51. Right now they're 17 behind Philadelphia with a .292 winning percentage. 1 hopper. Keppinger gets it to Matsui for the forced play on Polanco. 1 run. Granderson line. Light freeze cam, freezing a fan here. Miguel Cabrera, the foul ball, fine barehanded grab by that fan, but here this might have cost the home team a run as that fan interferes with the ball in play, and Carlos Lee had to come back to third base, and he never did score in that fourth inning. And now the Tigers have tied it 2-2. And here in the home sixth inning, Jeff Keppinger has just hit the first pitch in the air to the center fielder. So one quick out here for Jackson.
Jackson effective with the high fastball, get a lot of lazy fly balls with that pitch.
Lance Berkman grounded into a double play and hit a sac fly. He looks at strike one. And Carlos Lee on deck. Berkman only 2 doubles away from tying Cesar Cedeno for third place on the Astros doubles list. 0-2.
Crunched one to straightaway center field last night, rolling up onto Tal's Hill, and probably going to have to go up there again today to get it double. The way they've bunched their outfielders, there's almost no room in the gaps.
It's 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Ordonez out there in right field, basically in Conroe.
Strikeout for Jackson upstairs. Strikeout number 4. Be a nice day to have a couple of feet in the water at Lake Conroe. Carlos Lee singled to left in the fourth.
Again, the high fastball. People say, well, why are you swinging at that? Well, you see it out of his hand and it looks awfully good. And you don't have a whole lot of time to make up your mind.
Bouncer third, Inge. It goes quickly in the 6th inning, and this game is tied 2-2.
Our progressive fan of the game not only caught himself a foul ball off the bat of Michael Bourne back in the 5th, but it's also his birthday. What's your name?
Bill LaCafta.
Happy birthday, Bill. That was a nice grab.
Yeah, it was a good shot.
I think you made it off of a carom down here, right?
It just bounced off somebody, and I just grabbed it with 2 hands.
You still got the quickness, right?
Yeah, I can play ball.
Well, happy birthday, and congratulations for being our progressive fan of the game.
Thank you very much.
Brownie, back to you.
All right, good catch out there, too. Thanks, Bart. Brandon Inge takes the first one from Russ Ortiz. That's pitch number 80 for Russ, and it's ball 1 to Inge, who reached on an infield hit in the 5th inning. He's 1 for 2. He came around to score on the Laird double. It was 2-0 until they put that run up on the board in the 5th. This one to right field, Hunter Pence. One out for Russ Ortiz. Astros starting pitchers the previous 7 games combined for an ERA of 2.66. Russ Ortiz falling into line with that recent work. Russ with 113 major league wins, facing Maglio Ordonez. He's hit 2 fly balls to Hunter Pence in right field. It's an off-speed pitch, and it's good for strike one. Ordonez has an $18 million contract for next year if he gets a certain number of plate appearances this season. His playing time has lessened recently. 1 ball, 1 strike rather. Brandon Lyon is warming up in the bullpen for Detroit. Ordonez fouls it, and it's 1-2.
One of the better swings he's had. He's looked uncomfortable in the batter's box in this series. He's taken some funky swings. And we talked about it the other night, Friday night, when he was in there. For whatever reason, he's hitting the ball on the ground a lot more this season.
Two and two. 34,041 the paid attendance today at Minute Maid Park. Had good crowds this week. This is the finale of the homestand. The Astros are gone for the next week. And upstairs, there's a strikeout, and it's number 5 for Russ Ortiz.
Just beats him with a good high fastball. Ordonez pulling off that one a little bit. That's where the head winds up. Just kind of lifting.
Gerald Laird got run number 1 home with a double to left center off the wall. He just about had a 2-run homer. He's 1 for 2. Now one hopper knocked down by Blum. And that is the 3rd out. God bless America coming your way shortly here from Minute Maid Park, where it's a good ball game. After 6. Granderson with a big day, 3 for 3, including a home run to tie the game in the 6th. Michael Bourne has a triple. He has scored a run. And for the Astros, fan interference possibly took away a run on the double by Hunter Pence, bringing back Carlos Lee. Bottom of the 7th inning now with the game tied 2-2. Jeff Blum puts it in the air, foul. Out of play for strike one. He is 0 for 2 in his return to the lineup. Kansas City leads at Pittsburgh 3-1 in the bottom of the 7th inning. They're in a rain delay right now. Zach Greinke started. Charlie Morton started for the Buccos. 1 ball, 1 strike. David DeJesus hit a solo shot off Morton. That was his 6th home run. Firestone in-game box score showing you the Astros hitters. They've been held to 4 hits. Tigers have 6 hits themselves. 1 ball, 2 strikes. A vastly different evening for the Houston offense compared to last night's game when they struck 13 hits and 8 runs. They had 8 different players reach the hit column. Pitcher spot comes up second for the Tigers in the 8th inning. That one hit Blum.
And the Astros last night was one of their more comfortable wins, 8-1. Paulino was in command from the get-go, and the Astros scored early and then played add-on, and pretty easy win last night. Gift wrapped the game Friday night as the Tigers bullpen imploded. Now in a dogfight here.
Blum drilled by Jackson, who gets his first hit batsman of the year. Now Jim Leland's coming out. Chris Sampson and Tim Burdack are working in the Houston bullpen. Jackson has thrown 85 pitches for the Tigers. Brandon Lyon's been warming up.
And today's game is a great example how when you look at games individually, but you sometimes have to take a little bit bigger picture view. And the effort you got from Paulino yesterday, coming off the disabled list, where you probably would have been pleased if he gave you 5 innings. He gives you 7. Allows some arms to regroup out there in the pen. Most importantly, Hawkins and Sampson. Now, presumably a fully rested, ready to go bullpen, and you're in this 2-2 game in the 7th. Really. So yesterday's performance by Paulino not only important for yesterday, but for today as well.
Paulino was telling me today he throws 2 different sliders. And one with a sharper break than the other. Hunter Pence, the batter. Strike 1 to him. Line to center. He drove in a run with that double off the left field line. But then Lee and Pence were stranded when Rodriguez struck out to end the 4th inning after that double. Each club is stranded, just 2 in this game. Inge even with the bag at 3rd.
I'm guessing Leland maybe went out to buy a little time for the bullpen, but also to deliver a message. Look, Blum's not a base runner. Don't worry about Blum stealing. Make sure you focus on Pence. He's had 2 good swings at Jackson here today. That double last time and a deep drive to center his first time. Leland doesn't want Jackson focusing too much on Jeff Blum.
Runner chased a high pitch. Lefty Bobby C. has joined Brandon Lyon in the Tiger pen. That's Zach Miner, a right-hander. Oh, there's Lyon. Lyon's been one of the big setup men for the Tigers.
It's ironic.
Strikeout, and that's number 5 for Jackson.
Don't forget about our Kids All Free All Summer Long promotion in partnership with Minute Maid. For every full price adult ticket you purchase in the View Deck or Mezzanine, you get 2 free tickets in the same price level for kids 14 years of age and under. Astros.com or the Minute Maid Park box office for your tickets. Good story on television this morning about minor league baseball, how a lot of parks, their numbers are actually up because of the pricing. And what the Astros are trying to do here, and bad economic times, people come to the ballpark, kind of a bonding community thing.
Yeah. But Rodriguez fouls it away, strike one. Well, it is good quality time for the family. And with those prices, like that program you just mentioned, it's really low-cost family entertainment. Well, just fouled out. He struck out. Matsui on deck. Ooh. 1-1. Batting average against Jackson only .214 this season.
It's an attention getter.
He's not giving up a whole lot of big rallies this season. Lowered his walk rate this year. That's in the air to left center. Granderson back for the grab. 2 outs.
And for a fly ball pitcher, he's done a nice job keeping the ball in the park. He's allowed just 7 home runs. No doubt Comerica helps out in that regard. But, across the board, the numbers are good. Walks are down. Low batting average against.
Matsui lined to third and grounded to first base. Jackson gave up more than 3 earned runs twice in his first 14 starts. That low whip you talked about, the friendly Comerica Park. That's smacked to the gap in right center field. Plum head for third base. He might be able to score. Granderson gets it back in. Dave Clark is sending Blum. Here's a relay to the plate, and the Astros have the lead. Jeff Blum scores from first. Matsui winds up at third, and the Astros lead it 3-2.
Well, Matsui's had a lot of big hits lately. And none bigger than this one. The go-ahead double to score Blum all the way from first base with 2 outs. That hamstring must be feeling well. Kind of keeping an eye on Jeff earlier in the game when he hit that ground ball in the second. Had a chance for an infield hit and wasn't able to really press it. But this time he has no choice and really runs well the whole way. Takes one last peek to see the throw coming home. Yeah, I got better get down.
Polanco's throw over on the first base side there.
And he can have way better slide than Brandon Id. He's outslid Inge by a long shot.
Yeah.
Perfect technique with the hands up.
3-2 lead now, and Russ Ortiz stays in to bat.
Inge looked like a sniper got him in the ankle there about 10 feet from home plate and when he scored.
Ortiz struck out looking and lined to second. Could give himself a bonus run if he comes through. It's 2-0. Jackson threw 132 pitches May 21st. At that time, that was the most in the majors this season. Detroit scored in the bottom of the 8th and beat Texas 4-3 as he stayed in. So Jim Leyland has stayed with him on previous occasions. And sometimes the manager has to let the players know that he trusts in them.
It's an interesting at bat that Russ Ortiz is getting here.
Yep.
With a runner out there on third base.
Very much so. Fly ball to left. Marcus Thames coming in for the final out, and the Astros get a run on a
challenge here at Minute Maid Park. And this week the vote is between Craig Biggio's final game in 2007 or Jeff Kent's home run in the bottom of the ninth to win Game 5 of the 2004 NLCS. You can go to Astros.com to cast your vote.
Three to 2 lead for Russ Ortiz. Jeff Blum is in tied at third base. Adam Everett leads it off in the 8th inning. He's 0 for 2. He takes ball 1 with Don Kelly on deck to pinch hit for the pitcher, Edwin Jackson. Everett popped to second after a 3-2 count and then grounded out to shortstop. Kelly, a left-handed hitter, waiting next. It's 2-0 for Ortiz, who's thrown 89 pitches. Astros bullpen is revved up and ready to come in if needed. The Rays lead the Marlins 5-1 in the top of the 9th at St. Petersburg as they try to sweep that series.
Russ went 7 innings last time. That was his longest outing of the year, longest outing in a while. I don't know when the last time he went 8.
Ball short. Keppinger to first. 1 out. That's a good question because he did miss all of last season. Now Don Kelly, the pinch hitter, will bat for Edwin Jackson. Jackson in 7 innings allowed the Astros 5 hits, 3 runs. He had 2 hit batsmen and he struck out 5, no walks.
So he's gonna go to the lefty. Mostly right here. There's a Burdack.
Burdack was warming up. Another wonderful afternoon's work for Russ Ortiz. It'll be former Tiger Tim Burdack. And a 3-2 lead for the Astros in just a moment. Detroit, first place club, holding the Tigers to 2 runs in 7 1/3 innings on 6 hits. Didn't walk anybody. He fanned 5. He hit a batter. He leaves with a 1-run lead.
Just a very nice afternoon for Russ Ortiz. Chance to win this ball game. And he's had some tough luck lately in terms of run support. He hasn't gotten a lot today, but he's on the right side of the decision right now, and it's up to the Astros pen to get these final 5 outs. First out of the chute is Tim Burdack. And Jim Leyland will make a change as well. Pull Kelly back and throw another hitter up there. It's Rayburn.
Yeah, he goes with a right-handed hitting Ryan Rayburn, who has home run power off the bench. Rayburn takes strike 1. Rayburn 0 for 2 in this series. 253, 5 homers, 18 runs batted in. Had a walk-off homer Tuesday against the Cubs. That was a pinch hit 2-run shot with 1 out in the 9th. Homered in 3 straight games back in mid-May. 1 ball, 1 strike to Rayburn. He hit a grand slam against Oakland. The Astros bullpen has 9 straight scoreless innings pitched. Last 3 games, 9 innings, 3 hits, no runs, 3 walks, 10 strikeouts. That's on the edge for Burdack. He's done a fine job against right-handed hitters this year. And it's 1-2. Rayburn's had 87 at bats with those 5 homers and a .471 slugging percentage. Burdack worked Friday night to 1 batter and got him out, or got 1/3 of an inning rather. He had a walk, and he gets it out here on a strikeout. Rayburn retired for out number 2. Now it's Granderson.
Been just busting that fastball by him on the outside part of the plate. Now he's up against the lefty swinging Granderson, who's having one fine afternoon.
3 for 3, including a game-tying homer in the 6th inning for Granderson. Showing bunt. Ball 1.
Interesting that Coop would remove Russ Ortiz when he did to play the percentage after leaving Ortiz in to hit in the bottom of the inning with a man on third. He must just, because Russ is a good hitter, probably felt like he has as good a chance as anybody to drive that run in, and was able to squeeze one more out of him.
Yeah.
And you get late in the game, sometimes you just think of it in terms of out by out.
Absolutely. 1-1.
Some guys may have played it differently and thrown a pinch hitter up there.
The Astros are in a string of games, and they've used the bullpen heavily. They don't have a day off for a while yet. Strike. 1-2, maybe till the All-Star break. They're playing every day this week, and then next week every day.
Didn't make his pitch, but he got the call, trying to go down and away with that slider.
Granderson strikes out. Burdack striking out Rayburn and Granderson with a 3-2 lead for Houston heading to the bottom of the 8th. AT&T, the nation's fastest 3G network. AT&T, your world delivered. Bobby C in the game. He throws a slider to Michael Bourne, and the home 8th inning starts with strike one. Michael is 1 for 3. Leadoff triple in the 4th. He scored run number 1 of the day. Third baseman Brandon Inge is in at the edge of the grass. Cabrera is shortened up at first. Polanco creeping in at second. No balls, 2 strikes. There's the way the infielders look now. Inge backing up with 2 strikes in the count. C has been on a roll lately. He's not given up a run over his last 13 outings. He's 0-1 with a 3.52 ERA. Had one really bad outing in May, in which he gave up 4 runs. So that ERA is deceptively high, and he's done a fine job for them this year.
Throws a lot of sliders, especially to the left-handed hitters.
Two and two left-handed hitters are hitting a meager .212 against Bobby C with no home runs in 52 at bats. He's walked only 4. 31 years old. He came up with the White Sox. They drafted him in the first round in '96. They traded him to Tampa Bay. Chopped to second. Polanco with a quick flip. 1 out.
Follow the Astros on your iPhone and iPod Touch with MLB.com at Bat 2009, featuring play-by-play, video highlights, and live audio broadcasts. Visit Astros.com on your iPhone or iPod Touch to purchase. Maybe on your new iPhone.
Yeah? Do you have one of those new ones?
No, I just got the old one.
Well, there's some folks texting like mad as Keppinger steps up. Keppinger's been on twice with a single. He was hit by a pitch. Then he hit a fly ball to center. C drops down a little bit, and there's ball 1. He didn't actually reach the big leagues with the White Sox. He was declared a loophole free agent, and then Tampa Bay got him. Last year, C pitched 60 times for the Tigers. Left-handed hitters hit .303 against him last season.
Yeah, he was one of those guys. Travis Lee, I think, was another.
Yeah.
One of the Scott Boras clients.
Yep.
And they were not delivered a contract in a timely manner, thus becoming free agents, and they're thereby receiving a real big paycheck.
Yeah, they were. Last year, he struck out 58 in 56 innings. Keppinger, as the appeal goes to first, checks his swing. It's 2-1 on the Bill Welke call.
Not even close.
Giants lead the Brewers 5-0 in the top of the 7th at Milwaukee. Broken bat. It goes to Polanco. On Cabrera, 2 outs. Keppinger has a lot of broken bats.
Yeah, he needs to stop using those. Hard enough to hit with a good one.
He's gone through a supply this year. Now, as Berkman bats right, C stays in. Lance is hitting .206 as a right-handed batter this season with 4 homers and 68 at bats. Astros would not mind providing some insurance for the 9th inning, leading by 1. They had played 6 straight 1-run games at home. Last night they won by 7, and now a 1-run lead.
Now, Bobby C was made a free agent. It was August of 1996. He ended up signing a $3 million bonus with Tampa. White Sox failed to tender him a contract within 15 days of selecting him. It's Rule 4E of the Professional Baseball Agreement. It's Travis Lee, John Patterson, Matt White, and Bobby C. Matt White got a $10 million signing bonus from Tampa.
Ooh. That's hit well to center field, but Granderson measures it for the 3rd out. We move to the 9th inning. It's 3-2 Astros. presented by MD Anderson with Kevin Eschenfelder and Dave Harbison. You'll get highlights and analysis of this fine game. 1-run lead through 8 for the Astros. You'll hear from Cecil Cooper. And you'll get a preview of the Padres series, a 4-game set starting tomorrow night. We're getting ready right now out in the Crawford boxes. And Jose Valverde is getting ready to pitch, coming in after Tim Burdack struck out the only 2 men he faced. Darren Erstad is in the game to play left field with Carlos Lee leaving. Erstad goes into the number 4 spot in the order.
No wiggle room for Big Val. 1-run lead, 2-3-4 due up for the Tigers. Jose working for the 17th time, 0-1, 6 saves and 9 tries, 2.93 ERA.
Placido Polanco leads it off. The number 3 hitter Miguel Cabrera is on deck. Marcus Thames is due up third. Valverde saved the 5-4 win over Kansas City Thursday night. That's ball 1. Sadowski is pitching for the Giants today in Milwaukee. Have you heard of him?
I read something on him the other day, but no, I don't know much about him.
He's pitching a shutout through 6.
That's all they need is another good young pitcher to go along with Lincecum and Kane.
2 balls, no strikes for Valverde. Jeff Suppan got the start for the Brewers. Matt Downs hit his first home run for San Francisco. Polanco with a 2-0 count. Singled in the first inning and was hit by a pitch in the 6th. Michael Bourne is over in right center field. It's 2-1. Valverde pitched both Wednesday and Thursday. He got a blown save Wednesday night on an RBI single by Jose De Jesus. David De Jesus rather, and he came in with a 1-run lead in the 9th inning in that game, but the run was unearned. Owen gets away from him. It's 3-1 now.
Yeah, Polanco, again, a guy who doesn't strike out much, has pretty good strike zone judgment, hard to get him to chase. A little bit surprised they came with a split finger pitch there, 3-1, for fear of putting themselves in this position where he can look to jump on a fastball.
Hit to right field. Hunter Pence over toward the line. One big out.
Nice to be able to rush it up there at 96 miles an hour when you put yourself in that position where you feel like you have to challenge a hitter. You don't want to go there with this man, though.
Cabrera is 0 for 3. Ortiz really pitched him well. He was 2 for 6 with a homer. Off Valverde. Thames on deck. Twins lead the Cardinals 5-2 in the bottom of the 7th at St. Louis. Fly ball. Michael Bourne coming in. Hunter Pence is there. Bourne calling him off. 2 outs for Valverde.
How sweet is that to get him in one pitch?
The Cardinals are losing. The Brewers are losing. The Astros could be only 3 games out of first. Marcus Thames is 0 for 3. Francisco Liriano pitching well today for Minnesota in St. Louis. Strike to Thames. Valverde shooting for save number 7. He's converted 5 of his last 6 opportunities. One and one.
The last time the Astros were 1 game below 500 it was the 3rd day of the season.
Yes.
1-2. So it's been a long climb. They're not there yet, but knocking on the door of 500.
If they win this one, that would tie their longest winning streak of the season at 4. It's 1-2 on the split finger by Valverde.
Thames has been pulling off the ball all afternoon. I would stay away if I were Pudge.
He moves outside for this crowd of 34,000 plus. It's in the dirt. 2-2. The Tigers came into Houston with a 7-game winning streak. The Astros had lost 2 of 3 to Kansas City. Now perhaps a pitch away from enjoying a 4-2 homestand. Astros have swept only one 3-game series here. That was against San Diego. They won series at home 2-1 from the Dodgers, from the Cubs, from Cincinnati. All pretty good teams when they played them. But this would be truly one of the best series of the year if they get it. And they would be 6-0 against the Tigers in Houston in interleague play. Three and 2 now to Thames with Inge on deck. Padres are up next. Then the Giants. The Astros will be back home a week from tomorrow night against the Pittsburgh Pirates. 3 with the Pirates and 4 with Washington, taking them up to the All-Star break. Well, they would hope to make a nice run up to the break. Ball 4 puts Thames on for Brandon Inge.
Pretty good at bat there by Thames. Chasing that one split finger pitch away. Showing some pretty nice restraint. Laying off that borderline fastball there for ball 4.
Josh Anderson comes in to pinch run for Thames. Anderson, the former Astro. Very good speed. He stole a base here Friday night. His 12th of the year. Brandon Inge, the batter. He's 1 for 3. Anderson 12 for 14 in steals. There's ball 1. Sometimes the manager puts a pinch runner who's fast in the game, not to steal a base, but thinking about scoring from first on a double. Anderson's going. Deep drive to left field, and the Tigers have taken the lead. On a 2-run homer by Brandon Inge. It's 4-3 Detroit. Inge hits his 18th of the year, giving him 51 runs batted in.
That's a mood changer. Anderson running, trying to get into scoring position where he could score on a base hit. He can break it down and jog as the fastball drifts towards the middle of the plate, and Inge drops the head. As soon as he hit it, he knew he had delivered the go-ahead home run.
What a turnaround.
It's the walk to Thames, more so even than the home run by Inge, that will haunt Jose. 2 out, nobody on. Thames has got some pop, but a guy he probably is going to wish he was a little bit more aggressive with.
Foul ball by Ordonez. Valverde allowing his 4th home run in 16 innings. No balls, 2 strikes. Now there will be a bottom of the 9th, and the Astros will have Erstad, Blum, and Pence due up.
I was hoping not to see Fernando Rodney pitch this weekend.
We'll see him. He's warming up. team can be oh so close, and then just one pitch can turn a game around. But the Astros will have their shot. Brandon Inge provides a huge dagger into the hearts of these Houston fans here in the 9th inning. Valverde gets a strikeout to end the top of the 9th inning with the Inge home run. Lifts Detroit into a lead 4-3. Brought to you by Southwest Airlines, by the Ford F-150, by the Progressive Insurance Group, and by Bud Light. Steve Perry's bobbleheads in the visiting clubhouse. The Tigers were about to pack and get out of town, and they might still be. They lead it now, though, 4-3 after the big turnaround provided by the Brandon Inge two-run homer. Now Josh Anderson stays in to play left field after pinch running for Marcus Thames. It's Bobby C. And the Astros had Erstad do to lead it off, but they'll go with a pinch hitter, Matt Cada, batting for him to give them a switch hitter. And now Jim Leland waited for that announcement of the pinch hitter, and he will go to the mound. He has Fernando Rodney hot in the bullpen.
And that's why Cada was called on a pinch hit there and not Jason Michaels, because now you can turn Cada around to the left side and at least have that going for you as Rodney comes in.
Fernando Rodney is on a roll and save. .16 for 16 in saves this year, and he's converted 19 straight going back to last season.
Primarily a setup guy over the years, now has settled in as the closer for the Tigers and doing a real nice job. 27 strikeouts in 31 innings. He's walked 15, allowed just a couple of home runs. 237 batting average, lefties at 250 against him. He's got a real good changeup. He features against the left-handed hitters.
Matt Cato leads it off, pinch hitting for Darren Erstad. Cato, a 240 hitter with no homers, 3 runs batted in. He's 3 for 9 pinch hitting with 2 runs batted in, and they've been big hits. Ball 1. Matt 2 for 3 in his last 3 pinch hit at bats. During this homestand, he's had 4 pinch hit bats. Rodney deals. Counts even at 1-1.
Change up to start Cato here.
Cato came through Friday night with a pinch RBI single. This one, the bouncer to Cabrera. Cabrera will toss to Rodney, and he started running to the bag. Rodney was right there. Turns out to be out number 1.
The timing got a little bit messed up on that play. Rodney had to stop and then restart once he realized Cabrera wasn't going to take it himself, and ultimately did win the foot race. And Rodney with that changeup looks a little bit like Doug Jones. Remember Doug Jones?
Yeah.
The difference being when Doug decided to throw his heater, he couldn't rush it up there at 97 like Rodney just did.
Doug's nickname was Mild Thing. Rodney, his last 5 outings, has 4 saves. He's given up 1 earned run in 5 innings. Jeff Blum is 0 for 2. He was hit by a pitch and scored a run in the 7th inning. He looks at ball 1. Cincinnati down Cleveland 8-1 at Cleveland. Brandon Phillips celebrated his 28th birthday with a big game. Had 3 hits, 3 runs, 3 runs batted in. Micah Owings the winner. Johnny Gomes hit his 4th homer. Softly hit over second base, looping into center field. It looks like a beautiful line drive to Jeff Blum. And he's on with 1 out here in the home 9th inning.
And Jeff out in front of that change up a little bit, but the ball stayed up. It stayed out there where he could handle it instead of dipping down below the bat. Goes with a chance now. Pinch runner for Blum. Jason Michaels.
Michaels in the game. Hunter Pence the batter. Herrera and Michaels talk it over. Pence looks at Dave Clark for signs. Pence with an RBI double in the 4th, 1 for 3. There was fan interference on his RBI double. Carlos Lee came around and touched home plate, but he was later told to go back to third base, and he never did score after the fan interference. Ball 1. Hunter takes another look down at Dave Clark. Pudge Rodriguez on deck.
Tough challenge against a guy like Rodney because he throws so hard, so you tell yourself to be quick for that fastball, and then he comes with that changeup. So Cooper able to use Michaels to pinch run here because he's got Miguel Tejada on the bench this afternoon as well. Miggy not getting the start at short.
It's 2-1. The Astros have a 15-9 record for June. Now back, and it's 2-2 to Hunter Pence.
Hunter struck out last time after lining out and then doubling his previous 2 at bats. He's had good swings all day. When he attacks that fastball, really good aggressive swings at it.
Popped up. Layered over. 2 outs. And it's Pudge Rodriguez, the former Tiger, coming up. He's 0 for 3. Kazuo Matsui on deck. Rodriguez squares off against Rodney. Now Rick Knapp, the pitching coach, is going to come out to the mound. Gerald Laird, Placido Polanco joining. Fernando Rodney, 32 years old, from the Dominican.
A little review of their game plan as to how they want to go after Pudge.
Rodney last year was 13 of 19 in save situations. Tigers signed him as a free agent in '97. He stayed with that organization. He tinkered with his delivery a little bit this spring. Changed his mechanics. Work on short arming a little bit, he said. He felt that his arm was too high. And he went back to the same motion he had in 2006. Pudge Rodriguez ready. Upstairs for ball 1.
I imagine that's a show me fastball with an idea of trying to get him out with the changeup. The Tigers obviously know Pudge well. He spent 4 seasons there, and they know that he handles that fastball away pretty well. That one right there, pulled off of it a little bit.
1-1. John Lannon and Washington beat Baltimore 5-3 with a homer from Adam Dunn, his 19th, and Willie Harris his 4th. It's 1-2.
So far, nothing but the hard stuff. That one moving in, tying them up. Good spot to go, especially when you can throw 98 miles an hour.
Tigers were down to their final out. They grabbed the lead. Now the Astros are down to their final out. Fly ball at the right field line. Polanco has the angle on it, but can't get there. Still 1-2 to Pudge. Good effort by the little second baseman. The Astros have won 8 games in their final at bat. Now Cabrera's taking his time. Looks like he might be limping a little bit. Moves back into first base.
Outfield playing no doubles for the Tigers, very deep.
Bouncer third inch. Goes to second for the force play, and the Tigers have rescued this finale of the series. The Astros were 1 out away from sweeping it, but then a walk to Thames, a 2-run homer to Inge, and Jim Leland's club wins it. Tigers will take their lead on to Oakland and Minnesota for the final 2 legs of this road trip. Meanwhile, the Astros with a disappointing day. They were an out away from a 4-2 homestand, and from being 1 game